And one. Hey, what is going on, Mia?
Hello, good to see you again. I feel like we haven't actually spoken in a while.
I know
Um,
it's been seasons. I
yeah,
think winter, spring, summer, fall, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024 seasons
yeah.
have passed. How have you been?
I've been good, yeah. Yeah, busy, but really good. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. We're into League One now, so you know I'm doing even better.
Yeah,
This today we're taking a look at Reading versus or is it it's Reading, right?
yeah,
I'm
Reading. Yeah,
yeah. Sometimes the American English to UK English isn't always the same. So I'm like
yeah.
Reading.
No, you
Okay.
smashed it first time.
So all right, perfect. So we're looking at that matchup. This is our third game of the season, and we have the one and only Mia Roberts. This is Teach Me How to Wrexham. And Mia Roberts, she's a friend of the pod. We've had her on as much as we can in her busy schedule. Since last we spoke, there has been some changes within your Wrexham path. What's new? What's going on now?
So I think last time we spoke was I can't actually remember the game, but I think we did a preview of one of the games. Was it
Yeah,
last season? Maybe I can't remember, but um. I think at that point, I don't even know if I was playing football still, apart from a bit of uni football. But yeah, over summer, basically had a phone call from the club asking if I wanted to be back involved, doing some co-commentary on the men's and a new sort of punditry role, which they've only recently added this season, which is basically a new feature that the club have put out at home games only at the moment. That there's a bit of a sort of pre-match show, half-time, and then post-match show, all free to stream on YouTube, which is a new sort of initiative by the club. Which obviously I immediately jumped at and was really excited to be involved in with especially alongside Chris Malaband, who hosts it, who's a super experienced, really good sort of host for it, and then obviously Wrexham legend Andy Morell as well alongside me. So I'm quite blessed to be surrounded by such experience and talent really. So yeah, that's sort of the role at the moment, and it's just brilliant to be back involved in that capacity at the club.
Oh yeah, in that capacity, for all of you that are turning in new, Mia Roberts is of the famed entrance onto the racecourse ground where she hypes up everyone in the crowd, including herself. That moment will live on in infamy. I'm sure people will do their eagle fly towards you as they see you in person and go, "Let's go!" and get it. It's that is going to be somewhere on the Mount Rushmore of Wrexham history. Is your entrance onto the field? Yeah, joining Andy Morrell, Mark Griffiths in that pre-game show, the halftime. I've been tuning into it. It's absolutely enthralling. It gets you one step closer into feeling like the game time has extended, where that pregame, halftime, and postgame. As a
Yeah,
fan, it kind of feels like we're more involved and we're getting to mix in a little bit more.
yeah,
Um,
I think yeah, definitely. I think you see it in when you're watching your sort of Liverpool, Man United's top Premier League clubs. The coverage that they sort of get from whether it's Sky Sports. I'm not sure of all the American and Canadian coverage sides of things, but they always have this sort of massive build up, and then obviously they get first choice when it's post match at player interviews, manager interviews. So for us now to have that ability to do that, and I think one thing about Wrexham is there is just so much demand for content. So why are we not sort of feeding people that and giving them as much as they demand really? So I think that's one of the best things about this, that obviously people do want to watch it. We're not just doing it for the sake of
yeah,
doing it. And yeah, like having the sort of first access to whoever. Obviously, I think against Wycombe last week it was Jack Marriott, who after he scored that wonder goal, we're the first people who get to ask him about it, which is obviously such a sort of proud thing to be able to do, as well as speak to Phil Parkinson as well. which, for me as a fan, because before anything, that's what I am. I am a fan, a super fan of Wrexham, and always have been, always will be. That's such an amazing thing to be able to do.
Oh man, yeah, you are living all of our dreams, but then some. Robbo Jr., what does it mean to expand your role with Wrexham to you?
It's honestly really special. I mean, like I said, it was sort of the conversation of this role now was brought up sort of in the middle of summer, but nothing was set in stone, nothing was promised. It was sort of just an idea at that point. And I think that was just before the squad went off to America and Canada on pre-season tour. So then I sort of had a few weeks of sort of thinking, oh, will it happen, won't it? But obviously not getting myself too excited, because that's sort of life, isn't it? You get told these things, they don't always come to fruition.
Yeah.
And then had I think 3, 4, 5 weeks sort of not really knowing, but sort of just thinking, oh, it'd be fun if it happened, but if not, I've still got my season ticket. I'm still at all the games. And then I think the week after they got back from pre-season, from the tour, I just got a call saying, yeah, it's all good to go. So that was sort of it, really. And I think it was only like a few days after that, when I was starting to get my prep ready, something came up on my phone that weirdly it was just a few days off the exact day since I'd been into the club and actually been told I was getting released as a player, which for on a personal note was quite obviously a big thing, in the sense that in the matter of a year I'm sort of back at the club, yes, not in a playing capacity, but still being able to represent Wrexham AFC, which has always for me been a massive dream. So yeah, from that sort of point of perspective, it's so really special and a real honour.
Yeah, and we have to thank you, because we all know who you are. You are the promotion machine, and so whichever team you decide to join, you inevitably bring them to promotion. Those back-to-back promotions with, I'm going to try to say the name, you have to correct me. Is it Clondidno?
Yeah, Clondidno.
Okay, and so for you at home that weren't paying attention, Mia was part of the promotion team for Wrexham into the Adran Premier League, and then also the Clondidno promotion into the Premier League. So I'm just assuming that your charitable deeds were done, and you said, you know what, for right now, I don't think anybody else I need to help escort into the Premier. I just need to focus in on me and on myself. And to that point before, you mentioned that you get those things where you tapped on the shoulder for opportunities like the one that you have now. No, we don't get those. Special people like you get those. Us common folks, us serfs, and lowly people of the system. We only get to watch these wonderful things happen, and sometimes people like me get to have you on the show. So it's congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely amazing. So happy for you, and I'm so glad that we and the pod has been able to kind of tag on to your journey, and in a way we'll just compile everything and be like, okay, here was the last 4 seasons or 3 seasons of Mia Roberts for you. Everything that you need to know, the unabridged history. We have to talk about that top. So that is a striking top. What is that? When is it from?
It is the 89-90 season, so I think the likes of player who probably wore this one is more, let me think, Joey Jones, of my personal favourite ever Wrexham player, although I never actually saw him play live because he was slightly before my time. He's probably, for me, Wrexham's greatest. I still walk past him now when he gets down to games at the racecourse in complete awe. So he's my sort of hero, but also the likes of sort of Ray Kennedy, I think, was part of this season. So loads of legends. I could probably go on and on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just personally love the shirt. I think it's a bit of I like a bit of a unique shirt choice, I think. So I thought it was a bit different. So yeah.
Yeah, I bet a shirt like that would wreak havoc on some of the digital broadcasts, like the pixelization of like, is it pink? Is it, what is it? But it's a cool top. I like that top. For those that were around in the 89 to 90 season, you probably remember that shirt. I would think that it could come back as like a retro shirt. I don't know which ones they're digging in for the new seasons, but I do like the callbacks that they're doing to some of the collars and some of the color schemes, colorways. Pretty cool. Transitioning, looking at the upcoming matchup that's going to take place tomorrow. What are you expecting from Reading?
I've looked at them a bit throughout the week, obviously doing some prep for tomorrow, and they've got a really good squad. I actually really like the look of their squad. I know some people may look at Reading from the outset, maybe some people who aren't familiar with the some of the new teams we're sort of up against this year. Reading are a massive club. They're a really big club. I mean, they've had a bit of a sort of fall down in the last few years, but they've got Premier League history. They've had some real big players play for them, and yeah, they probably deserve to get back up there. They've recently had some real problems with ownership under a guy called Dai Young, Chinese owner, who basically left them in a real state. I think he's actually officially still their owner. They're sort of going through a bit of a transition period at the moment, but yeah, he's sort of. I mean, you can ask Reading fans if you know any Reading fans, but they probably won't have a good word to say about him. I know from my point of view, I've read a lot about their women's team have recently been sort of completely shut down. They were second in the second tier of the English pyramid in the sort of women's championship, and have now been put down to level 5 in that. So that's a real knockback for them.
Wow.
And their women's team has produced, I mean, some of the absolute best women's players in England, really. You know, the likes, I'm pretty sure Georgia Stanway was there. I'm pretty sure they've had most of that English squad in their development teams. So that was a real sort of tough one to take for, I think, the whole of sort of British football to sort of look on and see what's happened there. But yeah, right now I think they actually are in a real good spot. I think they drew the first game against Birmingham, who obviously I think a lot of people are tipping Birmingham to sort of run away with it, and we've seen last few weeks that might not quite happen. It's sort of proven that, when everyone sort of has this argument of, oh, well, they've got all this money in the world, they can just buy a whole new 11. Well, that doesn't actually necessarily mean you can just buy the league. So that was a real good point for them to get away at Birmingham. So that sort of shows their capabilities. And then I think they beat Wigan 2-0 last week as well. So they look a real good side. I think they've just sold one of their best players in Aziz, but they've got a few of the young talents, the likes of Charlie Savage, who is a young, I think he might be 20, 21. I'm pretty sure he's around my age, maybe a bit younger. But he's a young Welsh talent. His dad, formerly a professional footballer in Robbie Savage, played for Wales many times. I think Charlie's actually on loan from Man United, so he's a real one to look out for tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything too special tomorrow, but we shall see. But yeah, they look a real strong side. I think they're definitely going to be up there, probably top 6 this season.
Oof. Yeah, and there's no easy path for us this season. There's not a team that you're looking at saying like, oh yeah, this is going to be the best matchup of the season so far. Obviously, we can't look at the table and tell too much leading into the season. We know how that goes. We know how that we fall on our face. But how do you feel about Wrexham right now at this point after seeing 2 games?
Yeah, like you say, it's super early. You can't sort of, take too much from it. But I've been super impressed. Like, I'm generally quite a positive person anyway. I think maybe if we wouldn't have done as well, I still probably would have been, really happy. But yeah, particularly that first game against Wycombe, I thought we were really good. Their sort of goals, I think, sort of came from, a couple of errors maybe. I know that corner, I think Phil Parkinson would have been a bit disappointed with, and that's something you can again work on quite easily. But yeah, going forward, even last week against Birmingham, I thought we were really positive. I didn't think, not Birmingham, sorry, Bolton. I thought we were really good. We just looked sharp. Our shape was really good in that sort of defensive role as well, because they had a lot of periods against us just on the ball where they looked like they could hurt us, and nothing ever really came of it. I thought there was never
Mm.
really any, full proper chances. I think maybe they could have took one or two. I know that Arthur save was fantastic. I
Yeah.
could have raved about that for about a week. So that was brilliant. But then equally we had chances too. So I think in the end at Bolton, to be fair, that was probably the right finish, the right result. But yeah, a brilliant, to go there and come home with a point for me is a brilliant result in this league. So and good to get that one out of the way sooner rather
Yeah.
than later as well. I think that's another thing to take into account, that one's now ticked off. We don't have to go there again. Later in the season when you really need a point. So that was massive. But yeah, so far I've been really impressed. I think as well, looking at the cup. I think when was it
Yeah.
Sheffield United being able to change 10 players. Not every team can do that, and to do that and still go out there and put in a really good performance. I know obviously the result didn't go our way that night, but I still thought the players who played that night were really impressive. Obviously, the likes of Seb Revan really put on a show and managed to get himself in the squad for last Sunday. So yeah, there's a lot of talking points really. I could probably talk for a while
Yeah.
about just the
Yeah.
first 3 or 4 games. Um, but yeah, it's been really positive, and I think a lot of Wrexham fans suddenly, who were a bit maybe reluctant to say how we'd get on the season, are suddenly starting to wake up and go, "Ooh, hold on a second." So yeah.
Yeah, a good confidence booster so far. You were speaking about Revan, and that the wheels on that guy. I don't want to double entendre. Do the revving, rev the engines. The speed of the player. That somebody's already done that, and will do that enough. You don't have to point him specifically out, but if we had to choose right now a rock, somebody stable who is holding the team together as a player, who might you pick and why?
Ooh, it's a difficult one because I think we've got so many that you sort of look at and go, well, he's definitely in your 11 every week. But
Mm,
then you could also, I sort of look at the bench like last week against Bolton. I look at the likes of George Evans. I'm
mm,
trying to think who else didn't even start, but Ryan Barnett. You look at them and you think, how are they not getting in in the 11?
yeah,
But then I think for me, my answer to that would probably be George Dobson. I think he's come in and I think he's been absolutely
yeah,
superb. I don't think he's put a foot wrong so far, and I think for me, he just looks like he's been at the club for the last 2 or 3 years. He looks like he's just slotted right in. You wouldn't be able to tell that he's only just signed. Particularly in the manner in which he signed, he was pretty much all but set to go to a club over in Hungary, and that fell through relatively last minute. So he did have a previous relationship with Phil Parkinson. I think they worked together. I can't remember what club it was, but I know they've had a previous relationship. So I think he's been superb so far. He just absolutely loves a sort of 50-50 tackle, gets stuck
yeah,
in, runs miles each game. I'm sure all the fitness staff and everyone behind the scenes absolutely love him for that as well. So yeah, for me, he's been a real superb signing, and someone who could probably make a real difference across the season.
yeah. Now you're pointing out some actual factual things, the legit points that you're making. I'm 100% on board. I do have one question. It's a little bit more serious in nature. And does his hair move? Is it fixed in place? How is that thing staying together? Is my question.
It does look pretty. I don't know what the word is. Stable, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Maybe if we can get him for a post match interview, I might be able to get a little bit of a closer look and try and work out how he's got it set up going up there. But no, he's good at what he does, and he looks good at while he's doing it. So
Yeah,
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 he's top. I really like the look of George going forward.
yeah. We'll look out for that. A post game interview or something, and we'll just see if the wind kind of catches it. Just that right angle. And that is, I wasn't trying to double up the puns, but yeah, the rock solid hair of Dobson is our rock star of the week. outside of Dobson, for this upcoming match particularly, is there one player that us newer fans, should watch out for, and what position on the field are they?
Yeah, I'd say obviously, I mean, we know Reading are, like I said earlier, are going to be a real tough battle. But being at home, I think we always sort of expect that we sort of go for it a bit more, especially with the fans as well. I mean, that Wycombe game, I'm sure it came across on the coverage just how loud it was, because honestly, it was unbelievable. It was absolutely rocking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure tomorrow will be no different. So I'd probably have to choose someone like a Jack Marriott. I think he thrives in them sort of situations, particularly when we are suddenly, when that crowd picks up, adds an extra roar, and suddenly we're on the attack. And I think he really sort of feeds off that. And he's going to be one tomorrow, I think, who will be desperate to get another goal at the racecourse.
Yeah, and he is really slotting into that position, that filling in, and not even like serviceable. He's doing outstanding. For people out there they're brand new to football, which position is that? Why is it important that he's doing the job that he's doing, particularly right now?
Hold on a second.
Special delivery.
Yeah.
So Jack Marriott, for the people that are out there that are new to football, what position is he playing, and why is it important, the role that he is particularly playing right now?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of fans who've followed Wrexham over the last few years might have not really seen a team sort of play in the style Phil Parkinson likes to play before. So I do think it's quite interesting. Normally when you watch top sides like your Man Cities, your Uniteds, Chelsea's, even Tottenham, Liverpool's, Arsenal, I'd have to add to that as well. They're obviously at a very top side at the moment. They don't often go with that five at the back, which is because it is sort of stereotyped as a bit of a more defensive side that you normally see with teams lower in tables who maybe look to go more defensive in order to survive, essentially. But Wrexham have obviously done that over the last few years, and made it more of a attacking bonus as well. And in that we sort of see that five at the back, which is normally a three, with your three central defenders, and then your wing backs, who are often Ryan Barnett, maybe Seb Revan, now James McLean, Jacob Mendy, who can bomb up and down the width of the pitch. And then you've obviously got your three in midfield, which now we see as George Dobson, Andy Cannon, and then Elliot Lee maybe tucking in a bit further forward in that sort of hole, as it's often referred to. And then you've got your two forwards up front, which obviously now we see as Jack Marriott as one of them, and Ollie Palmer normally the other, and usually obviously Paul Mullin. But I think what's really interesting about them two strikers, and what Phil Parkinson has always done, is one of them's always been that Paul Mullin. You're sort of smaller, but pacey, still strong, still can hold it, but likes to run in behind that defence. Whereas your other one in Ollie Palmer, Sam Dalby, Steve Fletcher, bigger, probably a fair bit stronger. No offence to Mills or Jack, but
it is what it is. Yeah.
But can normally hold the defender off them. Get their arm in front, and chest the ball down, control the ball, and hold it, rather than necessarily running behind the defender, which they can still do. I think some people are often surprised by how quick. I know I was surprised at how quick Ollie Palmer actually is. He's got a fair bit of pace on him, but yeah, in terms of Jack Marriott, I think for me he's perfect in that role, because the amount of times maybe we don't maybe try and play it from the back like you'd see. We can do it, and we will do it at times, but often now when we play, Tom O'Connor at the back, sometimes George Evans, these sort of midfielders who can slot in. I know Max Cleworth can do it as well. They can knock this perfect ball right over the top of the pitch, over the defenders' heads, and the likes of Jack Marriott, Paul Mullin have that pace to run in behind and just absolutely leave their defender for dead and get on the end of it. Or your other option is your defenders hit that ball into your Ollie Palmers, your Stephen Fletchers, your Sam Dalbys, and they can, in essence, the aim of the game is to sort of bring it down, chest it, or whatever, and link up with their other strike partner, which I personally love when we see that sort of interplay. I think we saw it a lot in that Wickham game. I think it was, yeah, Palmer and Marriott started. In the Fleetwood game, it was Derby, Marriott, and the sort of interplay you sometimes see. I know Elliot Lee likes to get involved in times just outside the sort of 18-yard box. It's honestly like it's something they obviously work on a lot in training because they always know where each other are. I think it happened on the Stephen Fletcher goal when you sort of see Elliot Lee make that ball inside. If you want to watch it, the highlight of it, you'll sort of see it looks like it's just on for him to shoot, and instead he goes for that sort of reverse inside ball that the defenders just aren't expecting. And it's because they just know where each other are going to be. And it's honestly like this is why I sort of love watching this team at the moment, because they all just seem to know. They have this amazing chemistry, excuse me, where they look like they've obviously played together for years, and I think that's one of the main reasons why this team have had so much success.
Oh yeah, that chemistry is alive, and we get to watch it on that weekly basis. You get that front row seat that you get to watch it, and that Stephen Fletcher, I think he's rubbing off on Ollie Palmer a little bit with the trick plays where Ollie Palmer dropped that, heel kick over to Marriott. He's working in the nice trick plays, and when we're looking for tomorrow, and we're like, okay, here's our match. We've seen Sheffield United in the cup. We had our second team, which probably could have beat a lot of other teams in League Two. Nobody come at me and make me the villain, but that was a solid team that was there. Yeah. We have depth, and that's, I think, what the amazing thing right now is that even with people like Paul Mullen, who's not into the position, we are still a threat. And that depth, we saw it last season, we saw it the season before, where as the season goes on, that depth is what matters and what ends up taking you past either not playoffs or into playoff contention, or even better. I won't get so far or put you on the spot to say what you think we're going to finish at, because it's so hard to tell right now. But could I bother you for a score prediction for tomorrow?
Yes. Listen, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it might be a little bit tougher than Wickham, but that's not to say I don't think we'll still win. I'm going to go with 2-1. I think tomorrow. I think the atmosphere again will be bouncing. I think. I'm not sure if you saw Sam Vokes, the Wickham striker, came out after the game, the 3-2 win we had over them a couple of weeks ago, and said the players got in at half time and they didn't know what to do. They couldn't understand the atmosphere. It just sort of knocked them for six. So I think that happens to a good few teams this year, hopefully, and I think it could happen tomorrow as well.
That 12th man in the stands, they're not ready for it, but hopefully we are. The 2-1. Oh man, yeah. I'm gonna play it conservative. I'm just gonna back up Robbo Jr. because I am Robbo the Fourth officially as of this pod date. Looking around town, anything going on that we should talk about before we get out of here? This was any charities, anything that is going on that we should.
I know obviously there's towards the end of September the Gresford colliery disaster anniversary will be coming up. The actual date of it escapes me right now, but I'm pretty sure the Wrexham women's actually have a game on that day. It's definitely a Sunday, and I think the men's play the day before, so we'll probably be playing in their black kit, which is obviously in aid of the colliery disaster. It has the thing on the back. So I think, for me, anything that anyone can spare to go towards the miners community in town is always appreciated. It's it's such a brilliant little setup they've got going, the little cafe and stuff there in town, and the work they do to make sure that those men's and boys' lives who obviously sadly lost their lives will never be forgotten. I think their work should never be underestimated or anything. And then I know I saw another thing on X the other day about a young, I think she's only 14 months old, little girl from Wrexham called Keita May Andrews, who is sadly been diagnosed with a really rare form of cancer. So again,
Mm.
obviously it's tough times for a lot of people at the moment financially. But if anyone's got anything to spare, I'm sure Ran, I'll be able to share that link with you to try and get that out to people, because she's obviously looking for help in trying to start with chemotherapy and other things too. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the two from my end I'd probably give a shout out to.
Yeah, that's very important. And anytime like any kids are going through anything, the heartstrings are absolutely pulling and stretching. Anybody that's out there, do what you can. If you can share the links from Mia, I'll add them into the description, or SJ will add them in the description. Follow those links, support where you can. If you have the funds available, do what you can. If you don't, spread the word. It's free to share. It's free to retweet or to share on social media. Tell your friends. There's Miners Rescue, always doing good things inside the community, always needs support. And also, for the children, you've got to go out. That's our future. Those are our investment of how we treat our children is how the world is going to be. So everyone out there, this is my shameless ask is please follow those links. Please support Wrexham, support people that are in the community trying to make a difference. And of course, support Mia Roberts. She's absolutely amazing. And Mia, like always, this has been absolutely a blast. I got to thank you for coming on this journey with us, or allowing us to be on your journey with you over the last seasons, getting to see the changes in development, getting your insight and your expertise, which has always been there. You are the glimmering light, the shining part of Wrexham that we get to enjoy, and the positivity absolutely pouring from all of your ears, eyes, mouth, and nose. It's infectious. We absolutely love it. And hopefully you are correct. It's a 2-1. We're walking away with those 3 points. And like I always say, up the town. But I'm going to leave it to Mia Roberts. Mia Roberts, what should we do?
Well, up the town.
Up the town. All right, Mia. Thank you.
Thank you.